Hello folks. So in this video I'm going to actually check out the source code of Redis. So Redis is a popular key value store, and it is also multiple other things. For example, they have something called Redis modules, which is basically plugins or extensions, using which they also provide stuff like I think vector search or graph database or JSON store and whatnot. So Redis has always been open source. So I think Redis Labs is what became Redis. So I think now Redis.com and Redis.io both point to the same thing. So yeah, and just a moment. So you can actually see that they have the Redis Cloud, which is a software as a service, and they have Enterprise Redis basically, which is the licensed version, and then they have Redis open source. Um, and these are some tools, and I think they also have some modules. It's not showing up here. Interesting. So if you just say Redis software, they should give the enterprise version along with modules. I think they have JSON store and whatnot, Bloom filter and all. Interesting. So before we get into this, I just wanted to say that Redis has always been open source, yes, but they recently changed the licensing that they have. So I think now people, for example, say cloud services or any company cannot sell Redis by hosting Redis and selling it to other people. Only Redis can do that. You can just see the source code though. GitHub, I think Redis. You should be able to see that Redis is still open source. You can see the source code of Redis, and they have a different license now. So this is the thing. So I think it's the same as the license.txt, right? Starting with Redis 8, yeah, it's the same thing. So starting with Redis 8, Redis open source is moving to a trial licensing model with all new Redis code contributions governed by the updated Redis software grant and CLA contributor license agreement. So they have source code available, basically Redis source available license. And I don't think cloud providers can actually provide Redis as a service software as a the Redis software as described, and the trademarks, service marks, right? So here you can see making the functionality of the software or modified version available to third parties includes without limitation enabling third parties to interact with the functionality of the software or modified version in distributed form or remotely through a computer network. So you may not make the functionality of the software or a modified version available to third parties as a service or distribute the software or a modified version in a manner that makes the functionality of the software available to third parties. Making the functionality of the software or modified version available to third parties includes, without limitation, enabling third parties to interact with the functionality of the software or modified version in distributed form or remotely through a computer network, offering a product or service, basically software as a service and all, or product, the value of which entirely or primarily derives from the value of the software or modified version, or offering a product or service that accomplishes for users the primary purpose of the software um, or modified version. You may not alter, remove, or obscure any licensing, copyright, or other notices of the licensor in the software. Any use of the licensor's trademarks is subject to applicable law. So they have patents and other stuff. So if you use the software in violation of this, such use is not licensed, and your licenses will automatically terminate if the licensor provides you with a notice of your violation and you seize all violations of this license no later than 30 days after you receive that notice. Your license will be reinstated retroactively. However, if you violate this agreement after such reinstatement, any additional violation of this agreement will cause your licenses to terminate automatically and permanently. So yeah, so they have a new license here, but the source code is still open, and you can actually notice that most of it is written in C, and there is some TCL also. So yeah, that's the license. And when this happened, another fork, another project, which is the fork of Redis, started off. So it's basically Valkey, and Valkey has been started by all the cloud companies that provide Redis. So, for example, if you look at their community, their participants, you can actually see they have Percona, which is a database company, IMN, which is a database company, right? So UpCloud, which is a database company, and then AWS, Google Cloud. There's no Azure yet here, but yeah. So these, I think Ericsson and others use Redis a lot. So I think Oracle has a Valkey offering. So in their Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Cache, and even NetApp InstaCluster has something, I think. So they don't. No one has Redis now. Everyone calls it Valkey. Valkey I went for Valkey is managed in-memory NoSQL database with a small footprint and big performance. It is built on open source Valkey and compatible with Redis, legacy Redis open source software. So yeah. So there's a foundation behind this, similar to Apache Software Foundation, I believe. So yeah, and so it's under the Linux. The Linux Foundation is what is backing this project, ensuring it will remain open source forever, right? So it's similar to the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, which is also having Linux Foundation behind the scenes. So the founding documents, it's here. Launches open source Valkey. So this happened on 28th March. Reject all. And I think companies like AWS and then Google Cloud, Oracle, Ericsson, and Snap. I think Snap Incorporated, which is Snapchat, are supporting Valkey. And you can actually see that there are a lot of former like Redis contributors of Redis working in Google Cloud or AWS, and or even former Redis maintainer. So yeah, so pretty interesting stuff. So it's one of today's most popular, and that success has been driven by in large manner. Okay. I think this is the AWS fork. So with that, we can actually go ahead and look at the source code of Redis. So I'm just going to look at the source code of Redis, and then go ahead and look at the source code of Valkey. So one moment, decline all. So I'll close these. I'll check out the Redis source code. And by the way, there are so many softwares similar to Redis. I think I have this information in a repo. Let me see if I have this in my local. So open source software, GitHub, Carpea, Redis stuff. This is 2525. Okay. I think there are some comments that I haven't got. So git pull rebase. Okay. And Okay, so everything is up to date, and we have 4.5 B7, which is this. So I think the last commit was around deployment stuff. Okay, so this is a public repo that I have, and I think if you look at watchers, I think some of my friends. I don't know who is there. Okay, email. Okay, so I'm gonna actually go ahead and you know put more information here because I was trying to contribute. I think at some point, I think this was issue 27. Okay, June 27. So I was trying to build Redis in my local and whatnot, and let's see if this is still useful. This is from 2021. Redis was created, I think, in 2009 or 2011 something. So let's check it out. Um, Redis. So if you look at Wikipedia, one moment. So Wikipedia, and here we have it. So Redis Inc. is actually the X reference, X thing. So I think so. This was created in 2009. Yes, 16 years ago, right? Stable release is this, and like 20 days ago it came up, and it's written in C, and so that's history. So that is Salvatore Sanfilippo, also known as Antires, who developed Redis, right? One moment. Standard. So I think in between VMware hired Sanfilippo, and Redis was sponsored by Pivotal Software, which is a VMware spin-off. And 2015, Redis Labs, like Redis Limited, was sponsoring it. Um, so Redis announced the AGPL. So looks like already they had this cloud providers, um, using Redis. So they announced AGPL, um, and then that is commercial usage. This made the module source available and no longer free software, so only modules. The core Redis server remained under a BSD license, with Redis Limited committing to maintaining these terms on, and then so slowly they started off with Redis modules was changed with Redis source available, and I think recently in March 2024, um, Redis started creating Redis source available license and server side public license. So the Linux Foundation subsequently announced that it would fork the BSD license version of Redis as Valkey, and that it would change the license again to AGPL beginning on 8.0, citing that folks had achieved their goal of creating a level playing field of differentiated products, and that Redis has achieved record growth since the change in license. Anyways, so that is that. So Redis has a lot of features. It's a key value store. Yes, the key is usually of type string, I believe. Um, so suppose only strings, but also abstract data types. So looks like there are other structured storage. So so the value can be a string. The value can be a JSON through the JSON module that they have, that is called Redis JSON data type provides. So I think this comes with the JSON. So and then there's hash. There is the Redis query engine, which is I think for vector database, and a document database for JSON database, JSON documents. I think they have a list, they have a set, they have a sorted set, they have a vector set, they have geospatial index. So they have bitmaps, bitfield, hyperlog log, bloom filter, cuckoo filter, top k, count, min, sketch, tdigest, time series. So the module and then pub/sub, stream, transactions, and programmability. So you can actually write custom modules using I think Lua or I don't know what else, and even C++, I think C++, and Valkey has started creating Valkey extensions using Rust. So yeah, and you can actually see that um, you know there's client software in all kinds of languages, and Redis modules can also be created using Rust, I think, and that's how even Valkey started off their thing. And there are things similar to Redis, like um, a modern replacement for Redis, Dragonfly. Of course, Valkey is the fork, and then just this one, I think. And there are cases where you know TIKV Redis has been created. For example, someone created TIDIS, distributed transaction NoSQL database, Redis protocol compatible using TIKV as backend. So it uses TIKV as backend. This repo is archived and no longer maintained. Please refer to the totally new version with more features maintained by PingCab. Okay, looks like PingCab has it. So totally new version with more features. So looks like PingCab has it. Right, distributed transactional large scale NoSQL database. So this has key value store, I believe, completely redesigned and rewritten in Rust for better performance and lower latency, and added more important features such as Lua scripts, TLS connections, and log optimization and more. Redis might be we are not the only ones who have similar ideas. Both Titan and design with similar architecture, left behind, redesign. I think there is something called Titan. So yeah. Um, so you can actually see how there are some differences. So it looks like there is still Titan, um, and they show the difference between I think what is 300, 400, 600, 1001. Today's PD and TD mode. Okay. So looks like with different numbers of connections, they have different stuff. And they compared it with Titan and Redis 2.0 rewrite. So looks like the latency is pretty low and throughput is pretty high in Redis 2.0. So pretty cool stuff. Um, so I think PD is placement something, I forgot the name, placement driver for TIKV. So I believe TIKV is based on the spanner thing. So you can actually notice that it's a implementation of Spanner. Even Cassandra is an implementation of Spanner. Even ScyllaDB is an implementation of Spanner. Interestingly, Cassandra and Spanner, the ScyllaDB are both open source. So Cassandra, so popular repositories you can see Superset, Kafka, interesting. So Dubo, RPC and Microsoft. Anyway, so Cassandra is an implementation of Spanner, but I think nowhere it mentions it. But Spanner is basically Google's, you know, research paper. So you can actually see it, right? Google's globally distributed database. So yeah. Um, so TIKV is basically based on I think Spanner, and so it has been widely TIKV. So yeah, TIKV is based on the design of Google Spanner and HBase, but similar to manage without dependencies on any distributed file system. right? So similar to Google Spanner, and even you can actually see that. So there is thing where it's a distributed key value store again. There is some design of Google Spanner, F1 and HBase. So yeah, and you can actually see that Scilla DB um, is also open source, but it's actually premium stuff. So you can actually go through the Scilla DB source code. This is also a thing written in C or C++, C++ a lot, right? And you can actually see it's compatible with Apache Cassandra, NoSQL data store, right? And it's compatible with Amazon DynamoDB. So ScyllaDB, Google Spanner, let's see what it says. So ScyllaDB is a node while Google Spanner is a fully managed. ScyllaDB is designed for high availability, are both powerful database solutions, but they have distinct architecture and use cases. So detailed side-by-side view of this. Okay. So looks like there are some interesting websites like DB engines that show difference between all the stuff. I wonder who created DB engines. Record setting time series database called ExtremeDB. Oh, we still haven't started checking out the source code of Redis, but we'll come to that. So I think this is by this company called MC Object, and it's ExtremeDB is the database. Optimize a time series database. Is it open source? I don't know. White papers, ExtremeDB. Okay, so demo and trial software. Um, okay, database products, ExtremeDB, ExtremeDB/RT, first start today. Is there open source here? Nope. Cool, it's fine. I think GitHub, GitHub Extreme DB. Let's check it out. So there is some Rust bindings for Extreme DB by Mech Object, and that's it, right? So looks like Mech Object is a company, and they have Extreme DB and stuff. So looks like they have this company, they run this DB engines and provided by Redgate software. What is Redgate? Is it Redis stuff or end-to-end database DevOps? Unlock the value of database, reject additional cookies, um, products, test data manager, flyway, monitor, see all our products. Interesting. I do want to write this down somewhere. Maybe I'll just do this. There's something that I have called database stuff, which I used to put. So database blog. What did I do here? Nothing. Database stuff. Um, okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say end-to-end database DevOps. Right. Let's go ahead and so here think spanner is probably mentioned here. No, TIKV, yeah, TIKV and TIVDP are mentioned. Explore, I'll say companies, maybe. Um, I'll just say Redis Gate. .md, right, and then so Redis Gate products. So SQL toolbit essentials. Okay, looks like they have a lot of interesting stuff, and DB engines. We'll just take that. Featured products. Looks like there are some featured products that they put on their website, right? I think you'll probably have to pay Redgate or whoever I think this is also probably a kind of advertisement of sorts. So db engines dot md. Cool. And data stacks. I think data stacks I already had put somewhere here. Data stacks. No. I'll put it as data stacks. It's a company and Kubernetes as so this is that. Neo4j. I think Neo4j I have. Interesting. Neo4j. Okay. Rima. Embedded database. Rima. We have Neo4j. We have mentioned it in graph databases and database list, finding databases and whatnot. So Rima is something that I've not heard of before. So okay, and then Milvus and single store. Single store. So single store. I think Milvus I have mentioned somewhere over here. I think Milvus, no. Single store. Yeah, cloud trial. Okay, cool. So interesting stuff. There's Dragonfly and then ScyllaDB, of course. So I'll probably put these. So here I think Spanner should be mentioned. For Google Spanner, it's mentioned, yes. From what I remember, ScyllaDB is supposed to be, basically ScyllaDB. I think I've already checked it out. Single store. Yeah, just now I put it. So Neo4j, yes. Data stacks. Redis gate. I think scale grid is something that I might have put. No, it's something to put. Scale grid dot md. Scale grid. So it's a company doing database hosting. So yeah. So scale grid. The scale grid database is a service via cloud. I don't know which one is the real one. Okay. So yep. So scalegrid.ai. Okay. Scalegrid.io, yes. Scalegrid.ai. And then pricing. Right. So I think they have scalegrid.ai now. So interesting. So scalegrid.ai. Wow. Okay. So scale.ai, and then yeah. So when you look at pricing, I think for some reason they have some AI thing which they call it as console.scale.ai. So interesting identity slash u slash login. Okay. Console.scalegrid.ai. So this takes you to this. Okay. So yeah, there are a lot of different database companies. So for now, I think Redis I have it in my list. No, I don't. Okay. Probably have it in the Redis thing, but I'll just put Redis here and say Redis and see this. So next thing I'm going to do is actually open up Redis stuff, and here you can actually see Redis. Oh, interesting. TIKV? No. Interesting. So I don't have Redis here, but it's fine. I'll go ahead and put it in Explore and say Redis and put this up, and also put up this, right? And talk about Dragonfly maybe, right? So Dragonfly, interesting, it's not here, so I'll just put it up. Dragonfly. So that is that. Okay, so now let's actually just go back and put in the effort to understand the source code of Redis after saying update stuff. So that is that. So I actually talk about the Redis University and all over here, where I tried out different programs. So you can actually see university.redis.com. So that's the Redis University. So let's just call it Redis University and say this, right? So you can actually go and check out the different, for example, now they have community edition and all that. You can actually go ahead and check out how they have different solutions and different learning paths. There is a course for Redis Insight, build with solid sets. There is learning paths. So I think getting started with Redis is what I've done before. And and get started with this software. Um, so, looks like this has explore Redis for developers, build your database, Redis Insight for developers, explore key values. I think I remember seeing all the content on YouTube. I'll probably just check out YouTube Redis University, and we should be able to find out Redis University stuff. For example, yeah, Redis University. So this had a lot of things, right? So I'll just put this up here. This has Redis explained, learn Redis, head in the corner, featured channels. Okay. So Redis data types, Redis caching. I think I learned some of the stuff, but not all. I don't remember much now, but yeah, Redis search, Spring Boot, Redis AI. I think Redis is one. Redis incorporated. I wonder if this points to Redis. No, someone has it. Cool. So shorts, interesting. So podcasts, they have podcasts also, I think. Interesting. Data economy. Okay. So they have Redis University stuff also here, I think. University. No. So there is Redis Days Bangalore. Interesting. There's a lot of content, I think, over here. So yeah. And they have Redis Conf, I think. So not Redis configuration, but instead Redis conference. Because I noticed something about Redis conference 2020. I should call it a single word, I think. Redis conf. Um, no. Anyways, I can't find it here. Maybe I'll just say Redis conf here, and the conference will come up. No. Conference. Cool. So they have events and webinars, yes. Rediscover real-time data at these Redis config. Interesting. So yeah, there are playlists by Redis for them. I'll just say Redis conference, Redis conf, and just say this. Okay, and that's a lot of videos. So Redis conference, I think 2021 and 2020, a lot of stuff. Redis days and all. So these are some old stuff, and then there is something about some workshop, right? Who also served back home. Interesting. So now Chris Richards and microservice patterns. Interesting stuff. Um, So this is a GitHub based page, I think. So if you just say conference, it'll just say 404, I think. So I think microservices.github.io. No. So GitHub microservices.io. Nope. I'm not sure where the source code for this is, but open source website code is intent tweet supported by com microservices Google group. Looks like they even have a Google group for microservices. So anyways, so I'll probably just join this group. Um, I'll just get a digest or bundles of up to 150, 25. Okay, I think 25 will do. This is no emails, I think. Um, and with this, we'll actually go ahead and actually read the source code. A lot of exploring done. So let's read the source code for Redis. So I'll just do this. Is there Redis? No, I didn't. Redis. Yeah. So this is unstable Redis. I'm just going to pull from here and remote -v. Cool. So we have that. Redis source code, learning resources. There are two of them. So yeah, they have Redis. So University Redis Labs, I think does not work anymore. Okay. So they have the Redis podcast and everything. So a lot of stuff. So I was learning a lot of things from here, and so one of the books, and yep, thing meant your Redis Labs. Is there anything called just Redis? Yes, they have both of these available. Redis Labs and Redis. So yep. Um, I'll just put in my learning log. 23. Not log. Let's look at the source code of Redis, right? I'm just gonna go ahead and look at the server for now, and server.c, which includes the server.h. So I'm not gonna install this for now, I think. I'll come back to this later. I'll just look at the code So this includes server.h, monotonic.h, cluster.h, slow log, bio, latency, atomic variable, MT19937, functions and whatnot. Okay. I'm gonna just take a break and maybe start reading the source code in a new video. So that's all I had for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.